the rush back to earth complete. "Come on, darling." It's Stephen. He's only whispering, though it seems so loud. She blinks, her vision blurring with the effort it requires. "Shall I lift her up for you?" He's leaning over her, smiling, his glasses dancing before her delirious eyes. "We can't do this, love. It might be dangerous, remember?" Louise jerks fully awake at this, heart hammering as she checks the peanut shape of her baby snuggled into her side. But Lolly is fine, just asleep. Sound asleep with a smile on her face, still dancing with the stars. Louise sighs, relaxing back onto the pillow. "Lou." Her husband is on the verge of saying more, but instead cocks his head, looking down at her. Then he slips onto the bed to cradle her as she cradles Lolly, a family making its own constellation. She lifts a hand to fondly, drowsily pat his cheek. If only it could stay like this. Chapter 1. Louise. Dolores won't eat. Louise has tried straining apple, lovely homegrown orchard apple, and serving it in the Beatrix Potter dish decorated with cavorting bunnies. But Lolly won't look at it, won't eat the pureed carrot, the mashed banana, or the gruel that passes as cereal for toothless beings. Nothing. These are Louise's first thoughts as she wakes, hot and dishevelled from a nap. She sighs and sits up. Morning sunlight washes through the window, drenching a pot of bridal veil in the corner. A fly drones lazily at the pane. It's so quiet. Lolly screamed all day yesterday, all last night, and for the better part of the early morning, so the house hasn't been this still in days. Louise cocks her head to listen. But only the warbles and calls of the birds in the garden can be heard. Her daughter must still be sleeping. Hurrah! She slips her feet into her old black flats and pads down to the kitchen. The saucer of greying apple sits on the high chair tray. Earlier, she had pushed lumps of hot apple through the wire strainer and blown on it so it wouldn't burn her daughter's little mouth. But at the mere sight of it, Lolly had waved her hands and screamed. So Louise had left the room. She leaves her daughter in rooms a lot lately. She has to. The shrills go right to her bones. She also left the dish in front of her daughter so that Lolly might put her fingers in the strained apple, smear it on her face or in her hair, hoping that some of it would end up in her mouth. Louise now flings the saucer of untouched mush into the sink, where it shipwrecks on the bowls and graters and saucepans from the other failed attempts to feed Dolores this morning. Truthfully, she wishes her daughter had tipped up the saucer, flipped it onto the floor, leaving slugs of food everywhere, so she could have yelled at her, screamed back just once. She longs to yell when her daughter does. But when Louise had come back into the kitchen after the screaming had stopped, she'd seen her daughter slumped in the high chair, little legs protruding from beneath the tray, and the blonde hair on her head waving, then drooping, then waving again, caught in the breeze from the rotating fan. Adorable. And she had rushed over to kiss her forehead. She's always kissing Lolly. She can't help it. Lolly is such a lovely pudge of child. But her daughter had pushed her away. It was hot, even that early in the morning, and Lolly had closed her eyes as though she, like Louise, was tired of these same four walls with nothing to look at but a calendar from the butcher with its different monthly cuts of meat. November is also bucco, and who in their right mind wants to stare at that for 30 days? Louise picks up the dishcloth and vigorously wipes down the empty high chair tray, giving her hands something to do. She should get on with the rest of the housework while Lolly is asleep. Nothing has been seen to for days. Even as she thinks this, she trips over a few pot plants in her tiredness and has to use her feet to solder them closer to the wall. Yesterday, she brought all the pot plants inside to save them from the heat.